Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Vinay Lakshakar having 9-year experience in IT. Today's my topic is data persistence in iOS, how to save data in iOS apps. So before proceeding further on the video, if you did not subscribe my channel till now, then subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for further updates and notifications. So moving on the video, data persistence in iOS. So topic we will cover on this video are what is data persistence in iOS, user defaults, keychain, saving files to disk, core data, SQLite, property list, advantages and limitations, summary. So moving on the topic, what is the data persistence in iOS? Data persistence is the mechanism of storing any type of data to disk so that the same data can be retrieved without being altered when the user opens the app next time. While you could save the same data on the server, in this tutorial we are going to describe all the ways to store data locally in our app. By default, all the variables and constants that you allocate in Swift are stored in memory, so they get lost when users quit the app. Different types of data can be saved to the device locally using different tools, Swift APIs. To achieve that in Swift, that we can use the following technologies. All of them have powerful benefits, but they came they come with different trade-offs. So it is can be tricky to choose the right one, especially if you are new to iOS. So moving on the user defaults. User defaults as name specific can be used to store default information about the application or its users. For example, the user should be able to specify the default playback speed or a currency that you should display when presenting some stock data. These preferences should be application specific and should be persistent between app launches. Your default is an NSObject subclass that gives us synchronous reads and writes on cache level and synchronous persistence level. Advantages: your defaults is easy to use with a simple API. Thread safe, you can read and write values from any thread without worrying about synchronization. Your defaults is shared between the app and the app extensions. Limitations: it is possible to easily override the value for this same key collision. User default is not encrypted. Unit testing user defaults can occur with some false positives. User defaults can be altered globally from anywhere in the app, so you can run in inconsistent states easily. Keychain. Apple Keychain is a very popular and functional Swift tool that every iOS and macOS user is using. It can be used to save passwords, secure notes, certificates, etc. In general, Keychain is an encrypted database with quite a complicated and robust API. Use Keychain when you need to save sensitive user data such as passwords or login credentials. Saving passwords is even more complicated as the native Keychain API does not distinguish between adding an item and updating an item. Taking into consideration all that stuff, in general, it's a good idea to use some external libraries with some handy APIs like Locksmith or Keychain Access for that purpose. So you can see images where Keychain Services API works, password, cryptographic keys, certs, and identifies nodes you can save in Keychain. Advantages: all items saved in Keychain are encrypted. Keychain is the most secure data persistence layer in iOS. There is a lot of open source wrapper with user friendly Swift APIs. Once again, security, threat safety, limitations. There is no handy and old fashioned Keychain API, so you usually end up depending on an open source project. Hard to unit test unless you create your own wrapper around it. Speed. Reading or saving a lot of information into keychain can be slow, not recommended for storing large objects. Core data. Core data is a persistence and or in-memory cache framework that consists of a very powerful set of other tools that can be used within the app. In most common examples, core data is used as a wrapper for the SQLite database, and it's used to save and present any type of user data. Functionalities: query-free SQL database wrapper, easy to read data on the main thread, easy to use background thread data saving, easy to set up in memory database, example for caching or unit testing. Out of the box support for automatic migration of the database between app releases. Easy to set up database modeling tool with interface builder. Core data advantages. Core data is simple to set up and use. Lots of additional tools provided by Apple for fetching data. So you can see the site where you can check this. Speed and performance. Possibility to be a cache when set up in memory. Out of the box database migration, simple one. Core data limitations. Quite advanced threading policy, being forced to ns manage object subclasses for every new object in the database. Sometimes ns manage object context have problems with synchronizing database changes. Saving files to disk. Apple makes writing, reading, and editing files inside the iOS applications very easy. Every application has a sandbox directory called document directory where you can store your files. File Manager object provides all these functionalities with very simple APIs. Files can be stored inside catalog and subcatalogs of your app's document directory. That's why Apple recommends using the URL to specify and work with files using the file manager object. URL classes in general are used when working with a network like API request and opening the website. This use cases require adding HTTPS colon double slash prefix for every URL to be created. For files, Apple requires using the file colon double slash prefix, which allows Apple to detect whether you are using the proper file URL. Advantages: File Manager can be used with iCloud storage, so our app data is synchronized between all iOS and Mac OS user devices. File Manager is thread safe. File Manager can be used in many other ways like listing directory contents, creating directories, moving, copying, or removing files. You can store large objects, example photo to disk, as long as there is enough local storage on the device. Limitations: Creating URL paths can be error prone. You cannot store the absolute URL of the given file, as the sandbox of the application can be moved. Speed penalty: Reading saving files from the disk can be very slow. SQLite. SQLite is a relational database management system contained in a C programming library. In contrast to many other database management systems, SQLite is not a client server database engine. In fact, it is embedded in the client application itself. So there is no networking involved in SQLite. The most common purpose of using SQLite in the app is a possibility to make some data read-write optimization on the database level, which cannot be done using core data. Property list plist in Swift. Plist files enable storing serialized objects with key value conventions. In macOS and iOS applications, the most common usage example of plist is an info.plist file where which stores application setting values. Inside info.plist we can find the application name, bundle identifier, version number, required permission info, Facebook app info, etc. In plist you can store small primitive objects such as strings, number, int floats, bools, dates, ISO 8601, formatted string, data, NS data for Objective C folks, arrays, dictionaries. Information stored inside the application info.plist file can be read using the bundle.man.info directory with subscript access. Plist advantages. Plist files are very easy to read both for humans and computers. Plist file can be used to specify some app environment values like base backend URL, application keys, shared regex string. They are a better fit for this than let's say shift classes. Limitations. Working with string keys can be error prone. It's easy to break plist files with some unclosed key or value input. You can only store small objects of primitive types. Summary. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you learned something new here. These are all of the iOS data persistence APIs in Swift. They all come with benefits and limitations. So make sure you choose the one that is the most appropriate for your use case. I have tried to cover all the possible methods that are being used to persist data in iOS. Please comment below for any other information that you would like to see in future video. So friends, if you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe and press the bell icon for future informative videos related iOS development and interview questions asked in IT. Thank you.